Greetings everyone, I am Anmol Arora and today we'll be discussing about blockchain technology. Is it here to stay or just a fad? We'll see. These are some of the topics that we'll be going over today in this presentation. What is blockchain? Why decentralization? Centralized versus decentralized entities? History of the blockchain, its applications, advantages and disadvantages, and conclusion. So, what is a blockchain? Imagine your neighborhood kirana wala. He for sure maintains a diary of all the transactions that go on during the day, for each day. A blockchain is just that. It is a ledger of all transactions that take place over it. The only difference is that it is a peer to peer network, which means a direct exchange of some assets between two parties directly without the involvement of a central authority like government or a bank. While to make a blockchain decentralized, each peer carries a copy of the ledger that we were just talking about. So, why decentralization? Imagine a world where you can send money directly to someone without involvement of a bank in seconds or instead of days, and you don't have to pay exorbitant bank fees. Or one where you can store money in an online wallet not tied to a bank or a centralized authority, meaning you are your own bank and you have complete control over your money. You don't need a bank's permission to access it or move it, and never have to worry about a third party taking it away or a government or economic policy manipulating it. So, here are some of the differences between a centralized and a decentralized system. Centralized system. Banks have singular control over the world's wealth, meaning there is a single point of failure. If a bank goes bankrupt, your cash is gone. Where in a decentralized system, people have more access and control over their money. Second point, security is low as it is maintained and controlled by a central entity. In a decentralized world, security is increased as the number of nodes in a network increases. So even if 40% of the nodes go down, 60% of the nodes still remain, and each node, as I said, carries the copy of the blockchain. So your data and information is secure. Tracking transactions isn't easy in a centralized world, while in a decentralized world, uh, every node carries a copy of the blockchain. So it is very easy to track the history of a document or a transaction that goes on in a blockchain. So now coming to how a traditional transaction in a centralized world works. Imagine a scenario where Bob wants to purchase a cake from Alice, who runs the bakery. As you can see, the numerous amount of steps involved in a traditional transaction via a centralized banking system. In the next few slides, I'll take you through the process of how a blockchain transaction is carried out. Let's take a second to go through this as well. As you can see, there are about 10 steps involved in just carrying out one single transaction. Now, coming to how a usual blockchain transaction looks like. The difference in complexity and the number of steps involved in doing a transaction on the blockchain versus one in a centralized network is pretty prevalent. As you can see, there are just 5 steps, and the amount of time this takes is very less. As you can see, these are all the steps that are involved. Bob decides to send the money that is required for the cake. He signs the message with his private key. Uh, then the money is sent to Alice's wallet, and these are all the steps required. Now, this transaction is propagated to the entire network, so every node in the ledger has a copy of this transaction. Now, coming to the brief history of the blockchain. First discovered in 1991, it is a much older concept than most of us think. Let's give a moment or two to read this. I like to mention that the blockchain is still in its nascent stages. It's in its infancy stage right now. Applications of blockchain. We all know about the obvious financial applications of the blockchain, like how it makes transactions and the storage of wealth trustless. But let's explore the non financial applications as well. Blockchain can be utilized in the music industry. Artists can release their albums as NFT collection to retain the revenue rather than losing most of it to the record labels. Blockchain can also play a major role in maintaining comprehensive and accurate distributed database of music right ownerships information in a public ledger. Decentralized storage is also a solution that can utilize blockchain. A good example is NFT.storage or IPFS, basically a peer-to-peer distributed cloud storage platform that allows user to transfer and share data without relying on a third-party data provider like Google Cloud or Firebase. Decentralized proof of existence and possession of documents is another solution. It can help in land disputes and many other areas where document fraud is possible. Advantages of the blockchain. Blockchain is in no way a new concept, but it is getting widely adopted recently. Like any other technology, it has its own pros and cons. Today, we are going to discuss some of those. So, advantages. If something is recorded on the blockchain, its history is easily traceable. No single point of failure, so it is safer to use than a centralized option. So, as I said, there are many nodes in a blockchain, and in a centralized authority like a bank, uh, if a bank loses its database and one or two copies that it has, then all your data and all your money is gone. But in a decentralized system, there are about there are about thousands of nodes. So if about even 300, 400 go down, there are 600 nodes that still have your data, and all the other nodes can recover from the data that is being held in those 600 nodes. So data is almost mostly secure, or at least more secure than the centralized options. Blockchains are resilient to cyber attacks due to their peer-to-peer nature. Network would operate even if some of the nodes are offline due to security or technical malfunction. Immutability ensures that transactions can neither be changed nor deleted. Trust. And it enables the trust between entities that don't particularly know each other. I don't need to know to send you a transaction. I just need to know your wallet address. And you can trust me because I exist on the same blockchain network. And you will have my wallet address once I send you the money. Now, coming to the disadvantages. One of the disadvantages is that it is very expensive. It takes a lot of electricity to actually run those server farms or the nodes that we were talking about. Transactions are irreversible. It is a pro and a con as well. Difficult concept to grasp for a person not with a tech native background. Now, even I, as a computer science student, took me a while to understand how the blockchain works. Now, imagine someone who is not native to the tech background trying to understand how the blockchain works. It is a pretty difficult concept to grasp. Speed. A transaction in the blockchain is only settled when all the nodes in the blockchain successfully verify it. This could be a very slow process. Depends upon the speed of how transactions go through and number of nodes in the blockchain. Size of the blockchain grows with addition of a block. A node needs to store the entire history of the blockchain to be a participant in validating transactions. A system can only become a node when it carries the entire history of the blockchain. So the size of the blockchain grows with every addition of a block. So the storage needs also increases. Now, coming to the conclusion. Blockchain is a revolutionary concept as it has been successfully able to bring transparency among the users and has become a game changer for many industries like healthcare. Blockchain encourages entrepreneur Blockchain encourages entrepreneurship by destroying corruption and breaking down the walls of bureaucracy and establish the ownership of common masses. It basically brings the responsibility of the user's wealth and data in their own hands. They don't have to depend upon a centralized authority for their own data. The peer to peer technology has opened the door to new possibilities and has provided a personal ground for economic empowerment. The applications of this tech is still in its very nascent stages. As I said, we are trying to shoot as many arrows at the wall to see what sticks, but the future for sure looks very promising and can be concluded that it is here to stay. It is definitely not a fad. Now we'll be heading on to the questions if you have any. Thank you.